Commissars Log, Day 6. Well, I think it's Day 6. The God Emperor knows how long it's been since I've managed to get any recording done. Those engineers took their sweet time fixing this damned picked recorder. Apparently, being the only commissar in this regiment, theft, the only commissar in this entire bloody ship, doesn't give me any additional benefits to speeding up the process. Apparently, Wise's Voxcaster was far more important to get done. I didn't think Wise had a Voxcaster. She must have stolen it. Anyway, I digress. But there just isn't anything I can do about it. She's part of Icepac's company. I can't do anything with Icepac's company. I'm not allowed to touch them. I'm not allowed to discipline them. I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to talk to Icepac face to face. See if I can do anything to sort out discipline within his ranks. Again. Anyway, as I was saying, it has been a while since I've managed to log any of our progress, and in that time we have been on our mission. I had the very important job of escorting the negotiation team down onto the station of Footfall with my company. And while we were there, we were to meet with members of the ecclesiarchy, people from the Mechanicum, if you can call them people, family members from House Clesian, who are a fellow rogue trader household, and a gentleman goes by the name of Cornelius Venn, who is a free trader. Whilst on this mission, of the utmost importance I might add, Third Company was on stock replenishment. And when I say stock replenishment, they were to meet up with a transport that had been docked to Footfall to acquire some more troops for the ranks. Oh dear. I would feel sorry for them. First Company were also supposed to be on a mission, but they were having issues of their own. Basically, Finn and Cass got into an argument over the troops that had been assigned to First Company. Cass didn't like this, and he demanded they get transferred to Third Company, which would mean that Third Company would get some decent troops. Basically, his argument was that they were not up to the standards required to be in First Company, which is rubbish. The real reason is literally because Cass was being his usual arrogant self. He didn't pick the troops, therefore he didn't want the troops, therefore he gets rid of the troops. Pathetic, really. Anyway, back to the mission. I promise. The first part was to meet with members of the ecclesiarchy. This negotiation was not really much of a negotiation, it was more of a formality, and it was over in a matter of hours. I must say that it was an honour and a privilege to be in the presence of a squad of battle sisters who were the honour guard for the cleric that we met with. The second meeting was with the Mechanicum. This was a very awkward set of negotiations. I mean, it was highly efficient, as to be expected, but it was very, very awkward. We left it to the Magos to deal with them. I haven't got a clue what was said. It was all spoken in a language that I did not recognise. The third meeting was with House Clesian, and this one was the one that took the longest by far. So tedious. Oh, by the Emperor I was so bored. It started with a feast, as Clesian said that only heathens negotiate on an empty stomach, and that it could bring misfortune and other such rubbish as that. I stopped listening after a while. After the feast, it was a 6-hour-long negotiation behind closed doors, which I was not privy to. But when they came out, it seemed to have gone in our favour, so I can't complain too much. Then we had the last meeting to go to. This one went a little bit awry. we've been ordered back to the docking bay to return to our ship in preparation for the arrival of Artemis, who you may remember as the saviour from the extraction site. We got there, we checked with the flight crews, nobody had arrived yet. So we went about clearing the area, getting ourselves ready. We're standing around, waiting, and then there she was, standing in the middle of the docking bay, having a full-blown conversation with Captain Winterscale. I mean, nobody had seen her arrive. Nobody had seen her shuttle approach. Nothing. What the feff? So, for this meeting, I had some intel. Firstly, Finn was going to be ending his contract with the Free Trader. And this was due to the fact that Ven had upset some high-ranking inquisitor somewhere to such a stage that he had a death mark put on his head. Secondly, I was to be put in as Captain Winterscale's personal bodyguard, and Artemis was going to be her assistant as a form of backup. We were going to be expecting trouble. We started making our way through the station towards the trading area, where there had been an office suite put aside for us to have our private meeting. As soon as I approached the door, I knew we were completely justified in terminating this contract. The guards that he had were nothing better than hired thugs. I mean, high-end hive scum at the best, I don't know. There was no discipline amongst them. No respect either. As we approached, they were leering at Captain Winterscale and Artemis. Well, they were leering until they saw the squad of heavily armed men behind them. When we got inside, that was where we saw the icing on the cake. Xenos. Damn Xenos scum. Ugh. He'd hired a pair of crude mercenaries and what I believe was an elder of some description. I think they were there to try and intimidate us. He didn't know what he was dealing with. The Xenos-loving scum met us in the foyer. He ushered us down a corridor into the meeting room. I had to leave my troops behind with that Xenos that was there and the poor excuses of guards that he'd employed. I would say that the first 5 minutes of the meeting went fairly well. Pleasantries were exchanged. No problems. Then Captain Winterscale dropped the news about his contract being cancelled, and Cornelius Ven did not take the news very well. He got very angry, expectedly so. He started cursing Finn, he was cursing Captain Winterscale, he was cursing everybody really. At one point I had to step in because he was getting a little bit too close to the captain. It was at this moment that he drew a gun. I vaguely remember the details of what happened, but it all happened very, very quickly. Instead of drawing a weapon, Ven pointed a finger at the captain, and then there was a brilliant white light. Next thing I know, Artemis is standing in front of me, sheathing her blade, while Ven's headless corpse is dropping to the ground. I later found out that what he'd done was discharge a digital weapon, which narrowly missed its mark. And this was all because Artemis managed to step in time to chop off both his arm and his head before anybody had realised what had happened. Nobody saw it in time. In fact, nobody? Maybe the Magos? The Magos might have seen it. But nobody understands what they're saying anyway. We heard gunfire coming from the foyer and we rushed out to assist. It turns out though, there was no need to. The men and women of the second company had dealt with the problem already. As soon as they heard the discharge of the Free Trader's weapon, they sprung into action, eliminating the scum before they even had a chance to react. Well, except for the now confirmed elder, who had surrendered his weapon before anything else had happened. What a strange race they are. After that, we reported to Finn what had happened, and then we commenced in gutting the offices, trying to find any form of information. While we were commencing our search, Artemis took the Xenos away. We haven't seen it since. When I asked her about it, the only statement she would give me was, and I quote, "I didn't kill him." When we got back to the ship, I made a point of praising all of my troops on the landing bay in front of everyone. I think it's very important that after a successful mission, it should be recognised by the rest of the regiment on their success. Helps boost morale. After that, I dismissed all my troops and made my way back to my office. On my desk was a stack of paperwork and a pile of data slates detailing all the troops' transfers. There's also a bottle of malt Amsec with a note next to it, which had been written on the back of a requisition form. I'm going to read what the note says, because I was both touched and angered by it. It said, "Congratulations, Turch. You're now a real company. Enjoy the booze. Ice pack." The requisition form was for 200 pairs of pom-poms. I'm going to have words with him. I'm going to have more than words with him. This is Commissar Turch, signing off. For the Emperor.